What's up, guys? Welcome to the video today. We're going to be talking about how to make a list in HTML. And lists are important because there's going to be times when you're making a design or a web page that's going to require either a bulleted list or an ordered list, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the most common time that you're going to be making a list, like in a practical situation, is when you're making a navigation bar or a navigation list like these ones up here. There's two different ones, but these are actually lists. These are unordered lists. That's how you make nav bars in HTML. And we'll get into that when we get into the code. But yeah, just know that there's two type of lists in HTML, an unordered list, and that gives you bullet points next to each list item by default, and an ordered list. And by default, that just numbers things 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So numbered in order, that's an ordered list. I'm going to be honest with you guys, and all of the pages, the web pages that I've ever made, I don't think I've ever made an ordered list in my life. It's always an unordered list because it's for navigation. But nonetheless, lists are important, so we're going to learn them here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. And I'm going to jump into my Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to jump into my HTML course if you've been following the whole course here. We're on lesson 9. So I'm going to say, I make a new file called 9listitems.html. Get my boilerplate code up here. And then I'm going to say the title of our page is list items. And then let's launch this page and make some list items in real time. So I'll start out with ordered lists since I don't honestly, like I said, like these aren't, I don't make these very often, but the syntax, the HTML syntax for an ordered list is called an OL tag. So we'll say OL, and then I'm going to do the shorthand shortcut and just hit tab on Visual Studio Code. And you can say it has an opening tag and a closing tag with O and L, OL letters in it. And then within the OL, I'm going to hit space, and within there, I'm going to put list items or LI tags. So LI, and I'm just going to hit, I'm not going to type the whole LI out, and I'm going to put list item 1, and then I'm going to go ahead and just copy these down a couple times. So I'll just copy paste them down, just hit enter and copy them. And let's see, list item 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's our ordered list items, okay? So, let's see. Oh, I was getting thrown off there because it had like 1 and 1, but it's because they're numbered. So that was the. But anyway, yeah. So that's that's an ordered list. Like I said, you don't really see this much in practical HTML. There's never going to be a time when you're making a design where you're going to use an ordered list. At least I've never done it in like the 5 years that I've been doing web development. I don't think I've ever used an ordered list. But anyway, that's an ordered list. We can even, you know what, since I did a video on comments, now we'll just comment this and say, make an HTML comment and say ordered list. And if you don't know how to make an HTML comment, guys, you can just hold Control and while you're holding Control, type out the question mark key on PC. Or if you're on Mac like I am, you can hold the command button and type a question mark, and it'll make the syntax for a comment, an HTML comment. You can put a comment in there. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm just going to make another comment called unordered list. And an unordered list syntax, instead of OL for ordered list, it's UL for unordered list. So I'm going to make my unordered list tags. And I'm going to do my list items, my LIs. And I'll just say item 1, I'll type out 1, and then you can see it has got a bullet point by default, just like the example that I just showed you. I'll have item 1, 2, 3, and 4. See what a slow typer I am. There's more shortcuts to like duplicate everything and do that really fast, but I don't want to get too much into that because it can get confusing if you're not using VS Code every day. So I'm kind of doing it slower here so you guys can learn. But if you want to learn keyboard, there's like a keyboard shortcut to do just about anything in this Visual Studio Code program. So you can look up the shortcuts if you want to know how to quickly make duplicates like this. For example, like just hit down on the arrow key there with that shortcut, and you can duplicate stuff a ton of times super fast. But anyway, that's an unordered list. Bullet points by default. Now what we'll do now is I'll show you a practical time when we're going to use an unordered list, and it's every time that you make a new design from scratch. If you're building like a website for somebody and you're making it with HTML and CSS, you're always going to use an unordered list at least once, and that's going to be for the main navigation bar. So if you're going to make like an actual unordered list and use it here, what you would normally be doing is you'd be making the nav bar. So we're going to make a nav tag, the semantic tag nav for HTML for navigation. We're going to go UL for an unordered list. We're going to put a list item here. Within the list item, we're going to put an A tag, an anchor tag for link, because remember, like, navigation bars are links, right? They take you somewhere. So it's going to be a link within our LI. And then we'll say like home. And see that, guys? That's our first link in our make-believe navigation bar. We put that hashtag in between the href because it's just going to be a dead link that doesn't go anywhere, and it's just a placeholder. So if you're going to ever make a link that is just not going to go anywhere for the time being, always put the hashtag in there. And then I'm going to copy this down a couple more times. And we'll say about. So a home page, we'll say there's an about page, we'll say there's a blog page, and we'll say there's a contact page for this imaginary website. And then that would be the start of a nav bar, okay? Using an unordered list within a nav tag. So that's the most practical application of lists that you're probably ever going to use most of the time. And yeah, so that's really all I'm going to say about lists here. Just know that you can make lists in HTML ordered or unordered, so numbered or bulleted. And then, of course, when we get more into CSS, we'll make navigation bars. We'll make them really pretty like this. And you have to do CSS to take away. So you can, for example, take away the bullets or the numbers next to list items with CSS. You can do a bunch of stuff to position them and style them and make them look professional like this. But that'll be for the CSS course. This is just HTML. But yeah, we'll get into that later. So thanks for watching, guys.